think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, I'm here. Who wants to fight with me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
My goal is to demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. You got the YouTube community going up on a Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a wonderful time out there, man. Whatever you got going on, man. We're gonna do a little something different. It's something that we've been wanting to do a little bit more. We wanted to talk heavy. That's a series that I started a long time ago. Inspired by Iron Mike. And with the landscape of the heavyweight division over here in the States, we haven't really been able to do that. You know what I'm saying? We hadn't really been able to get into it because, I'm not going to steal my own thunder. I'm going to go over some of the things that's going on with the heavyweights over here, but I was a huge fan of Mike Tyson, man. I think at one point in time, I was in the Army. And I used to, have cookouts and, have my little clan over, and we get to do our little shenanigans back then, and I would throw fight parties and stuff like that, man. And it wasn't until Mike Tyson, I think he fought Tommy Morrison, and he was just like, yeah, I just wanted, he kissed him on the cheek, and he was like, I just wanted money to feed my family, man. And I almost broke my TV, man, because I didn't like to see one of my heroes growing up go out like that and be, and appear to be that soft. But Iron Mike was a bad man. You know what I'm saying? So this is a series that we do. And again, we don't get to talk about it that much because heavyweight has been lackluster, especially for us in the States. But we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have some fun with it. And we're going to have a grand old time. Cookie Monster, Bodywork, mic check, 1 2 1 2, sounding crystal clear. That's what I like to hear. And it's a lot still going on with social media and all that, and people still wanting to harp and rehash and remix, this same old silly topic, man. I'm not with it. So in the vein of what we do here, man, we're gonna put a stake in the ground for a young man that, I'm not sure if I'm fully sold, because I do have things that I got to go through. I got to see you going through with some adversity. I got to see you matched up a certain kind of way, and it's coming. August the 29th, it's the start of it's either the beginning of the end or the beginning of a reign, or, something spectacular is getting ready to happen, man, with this young man. And been having my eyes on him. I know my co-host. I know my co-host AC. He's pretty high on the guy. We've been in our evaluation stage, but some of the things that he do jumps off the page at us. So salute the Melazar. All the American heavyweights are playing football or basketball. Hey, you ain't never lied, Melazar. Salute to you, man. I know you working hard this your season, man. But my main apple Scrapple's in the building. AC, what's good with you?
Man, what's good with you, bro? This is a good topic right here. This is something that we talk a lot about, behind the scenes and stuff like that. So it's good to give it the attention that it needs.
Yeah, man. How was your day?
Man, my day was good. Yesterday was a very interesting meeting concerning the restaurant space and stuff like that. I got a call that one of the biggest social media type presence and online magazine gave me a call out the blue, or gave someone else a call out the blue, and was like, look, we want to invest in this guy. So it comes down to like basically seeing what they really got to offer in the next 2 weeks, because a lot of the talking points were, okay, we're on board, but we're not liquid right now. So we're going to take this trip over, to where all the politicians are like, oh my God, they're super evil. You feel what I'm saying, to Israel. But look at what this is Israeli people are doing for a poor brown man from Brownsville, New York. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'm not selling my soul. I'm not selling my integrity, nothing like that. I told them what it was. It was a great conversation. At the end of it, they was like, yeah, we're on board, but we're not liquid. When we come back, we're going to sit down and we're going to finish this conversation. So it is what it is at this point. So I'm just finishing up some of my work to make sure that either way, my talking points are solid with numbers and everything. So when I do meet with them, they see, well, yeah, you've always been serious. You've always shown us you've been on this level, and here you go again. The consistency. It's the same thing we talking about, without stealing the thunder with these boxers. When are you going to go on your run? When are you going to run your race? And are you preparing yourself legitimately to make this run and go and run your own race? And that's what we judge these fighters on, especially the new ones. So yeah, it all ties in, and I keep trying to tell people what I do for a living completely overlaps with the boxer's mindset, because it's me against the world. It's me and my food against everybody's opinion.
Yep. That's how it is with me, man, and doing contract working for myself. I feel a lot of the pain. I know, you want to jump at all these big money things and all these things, and it's like all that glitters ain't gold, and you got to take your time and you got to do your due diligence, but then you got to put in that work. So I understand, man, and that's good news. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for you. And like I said, it's just some time got to go by. Hey Sostin, salute. I appreciate you. For chiming in. We gonna go ahead and get into the housekeeping, man. You ready?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, then let's do it. Let's do it till we satisfied. Number one, Broly. If this message comes across to you, my brother, keep your head on a swivel, man. I sit back and I actually analyze a lot of things in the landscape of boxing, and man, we got some fair weather people out here, and when it's your time to shine, because right now you got to think about it. Brody's in the spotlight because he's getting ready to make his title defense against Teofimo Lopez. He's moving up former champion. He had all of the accolade soup, accolade salad. He done a lot of the things that Devin Haney did before Devin Haney did it, but Devin somehow gets all of the praise. I mean, T.O. got, 2 losses. He didn't get either one of them smudged off. So, but they act like he didn't do what Devin did before Devin did it. I'm gonna digress from that. But the spotlight is also on Ryan, and that's like a little triangle. And we thought we was going to get some answers, some closure to that triangle. A lot of people do triangle theories, because whenever you start talking about common opponent, that is a triangle theory. So all these people say, "Oh man, triangle theories, blah." No, you do it when you talk about common opponent. And right now, it's a big bright light on both of them gentlemen, all three of them actually. T.O., Rolly, Ryan, if you want to add Blondie in there, Connor Ben, and also you want to add the face of YouTube boxing, Devin Haney, in there, then the spotlight is on all of them guys. I'm not going to talk about Devin right now, but I did want him to face Rolly. But what I find funny is a lot of people are actually jumping in. I was watching I watched that interview with Oliveri yesterday, a part of it. I didn't stay for the whole ordeal, but that guy was sitting up there saying, yeah, I'm gonna play Rolly and Connect 4, and because he seen T.O. and Rolly doing that, and he told a story about how Bud was like, I got a guy that I'm a bet, and he was saying, put down whatever you want. I put down, what you want to put up. And I'm like, this is kind of whack, if you ask me. Because I'm like, all this friendly energy, and this is why I'm telling Rolly, man, keep your head on the swivel. One, you're a PBC fighter. And no matter what, I don't care if the conversation could be about Godzilla and King Kong. They'll just be like, man, I'm just glad King Kong didn't sign to Al Heyman. I'd be like, man, that shit is like, to me, it is triggering. It's triggering. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna front, because I'm like some of the people that be talking, I don't do promotional, but they be the main ones pushing the envelope. It's like, I ain't trying to take your money. I'm like, well, get your hand out my pocket. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking at this situation, and a lot of people are trying to be real friendly with Rolly. A lot of people are coming around, and I'm gonna admit, I was never the biggest Rolly fan. But in my evaluation process, I say, yeah, my dog put Rolly on stilettos. You know what I'm saying? He got up and he was on stilettos. But I also see the maturation of Rolly. And I also peep something that everybody wants to try to forget. Before the whole Shakur and, Devin fiasco with the 144 catchweight stuff that, Bill was campaigning for and all that, like, Shakur wanted the 144. Devin and Bill called this bluff. And then it started being about all this other stuff. But prior to that, there was an offer with Rolly. And it was something that went down where Devin had an opportunity to be his own boss, like he said he is. Like all his fans, all his only fans, you know what I'm saying? The butt fuck tuberculosis of the world. All of his OnlyFans, was coming out in flocks and droves. They really want to forget that happened. And I'm like, we saw Rolly, a B-side, just like Oshaki, another B-side, send 2 A-sides offers. Oshaki sent Shakur an offer to get his belt back, to pay his fees, to fight him in his backyard, to get him back in good graces with the WBC and put him back to what he claimed he wanted in the WBC. I'm going to digress from that. You saw Rolly send an offer to Devin Haney. And Devin Haney, I was like, man, when have you ever heard them guys come out and say, oh, yeah, man, the money is right, and this and that. It's the same thing that he said with Tank. He's like, man, this dude grew some balls. We might actually fight, only to renege. But everybody forgets that Rolly sent that man a proper offer. Why? Why is T.O. fighting him? You can say, oh, with T.O. coming off a loss, blah, 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 because people pick and choose with that coming off of a loss stuff. I don't like fighters coming off of a loss. I don't like fighters coming off of a knockout loss, especially. But that don't stop nobody. That didn't stop Shakur from fighting Haratunian. That didn't stop him from getting ready to go into a fight with Cordina, coming off of a knockout loss to Kakasi. That didn't stop Devin from fighting Jose Ramirez after getting washed by Arnold Barbosa. That didn't stop nothing. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and parking lot that, you know, with T.O. coming off of a loss. But to AC's, one of the things he always says, how do we get here? How do we get here? How did we get here with Rolly and T.O.? Because Devin turned down an offer. It's simple and plain. So all of this fake, friendly BS, Rolly. I know you in your 15 minutes, and you know you had a slight layoff. You know, it's been a minute because you didn't really fully capitalize on your momentum from Ryan. But the fact that you got a Teofimo Lopez, a highly decorated, you know, former champ, you know, lineal and all of that. He got Loma, he got Josh Taylor. The fact that you got that on the plate, yeah, you're capitalizing on your momentum, but it should have been either a rematch with Ryan or really you should have got. Why didn't you just come out and say what it was when Devin did whatever? Because you were scared to be the salmon swimming upstream. You were scared to say what, you know, like silence is consent is the mantra of this channel. Meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for men and women to remain silent. So we got to speak to these things. So, you know, why wasn't you using your platform to say, oh man, this ain't right, man, this don't look right? Why did Devin turn that down? That was a unification for a guy who claimed they want to be undisputed and then know how to move in a room full of vultures. In the words of Jay-Z. Number 2, man, toxic fan bases just find new hosts. See, I thought that we was getting rid of a one toxic fan base, right? I was like, oh man, with this guy retiring, man, we ain't got to worry about these fans who they don't care nothing about no real history. All they care, they some hindsight is 2020 is whatever they fighter do, however they move, they just gonna be like, oh, okay, well he said this and we moving like that, and they just gonna be locked in step with whatever this fighter does. But you know what I'm saying, I almost did a backflip, you know what I'm saying, off my terrace, you know, when the man retired, because I had been saying, man, I said, I mean, I hope I'd be glad when him and Canelo hang him up so boxing can move forward. I respect what he did going out the door, but the way that fan base act and how they, like, it's just, he's always the exception. It's like they hold everybody's feet to the fire. They criticize everybody else. But when it came to him, they had nothing to say. We see a lot of that going on today. A lot of that going on today. And I thought we was done with that fan base, but guess what? We're not. All they did was find a new host. They found a new host who's actually making his claim to fame, living in this man's shadow, even though he's retired, man. And I'm like, I find these guys out here on these major platforms talking and sounding and doing some of the same exact things that the retirees fan base was doing. And I'm sorry, this is a hardcore channel, so if you don't understand who I'm talking about or whatever, catch up. You know what I'm saying? We don't cater to casuals, you know what I'm saying? We're not going to dumb it down. You're going to have to catch it up. But what I'm seeing is they sitting up here shitting all over Fundora. You know, out here just having diarrhea in their mouth. Yeah, man, because Fundora, he don't blah, blah, blah. In Boots, he actually keeps his hands up, so I don't see him getting caught. I'm like, did you just watch the last fight? Why was everybody critically acclaimed in the third round? What happened in the third round? Was his hands up then? That's why I said, man, I can't go nowhere. I'm not going to go nowhere unless when this man get a fight in the books, I'm going to do bodywork style, bodywork and AC style breakdown, you know what I'm saying, over it, where we not going to mince no words. We're not going to tiptoe around nothing. We just going to talk the way we do. But like going around talking about this dude, I'm not going to do it right now. Because this fan base, the fan base of Bud, they just morphed. They just morphed. They either went to Devin route, you know, they either went the Boots route, but they just morphed. They chose a side, they closeted fans. Some of them from that fan base, they just ultimate haters. They just gonna hate. Some of them who were Bud fans, they actually have legitimate points and reasoning and logic. They saying, oh, listen, man, in all actuality, you gotta show us this and show us that. But I can't help but hear his fans out here on these other platforms. They're already shitting on Fundora. I'm like, y'all about to knock the equity up. So, okay, so if he gets stopped, if he get dropped, if he get knocked the fuck out, y'all gonna be sounding dumb. And I'm gonna remember the episodes. I'm gonna remember these. I'm gonna remember when this content creator had this, and you jumped your funky ass up there, because they say, like, I got that from Black Fight Fan. You said a funky pair of lips to say anything. But there's a whole bunch of funky ass lips out here just running their mouth about Fundora. I'm like, why are y'all even shitting on the fight? Is it a contract sign? And why are y'all lying? But this is what I saw, no matter what. And this is what I see a lot with Devin Haney OnlyFans, right? It's certain fans, Twitterson OnlyFans, Quackshawn OnlyFans. They have this propensity to, no matter who their opponent is, they just start shitting on them. They just start having diarrhea in the mouth, discrediting them, talking all kind of bad shit, trying to dredge up shit. And I'm like, this must be this new age boxing fandemonium that's going on. I don't understand it. Why can't you just if it's a beef, let it be organic? But you don't need to be up here just shitting on Fundora and saying, oh, he ain't this and he ain't. It was like, okay, well, there were some things that your guy could have done to show. Okay, he could have jumped up and fought Bachram. Nobody say nothing. He could have jumped. He could have had the Virgil fight, but he turned it down for a big turkey bag. Nobody want to say nothing. He could have been the one to get Brian Norman out of there. But he gave Stan Giannis more money, but he didn't give Brian Norman no money. Then they shitted on the Normans when they was talking about no more money. We're not gonna do that. But what I see is that, because you don't know how to like just promote your guy without stepping and shitting on everybody else, you sounding dumb. You sounding just like the Bud OnlyFans. You're doing the same thing. That's why I said a couple of lives ago, I said, do not become the fan base that you despise. And guess what? It's too late. It's too late. STFU. Do not go in that way, because why? You're gonna watch. What's gonna happen is everybody that stand across from that man, and especially if he want big fights, you're gonna create too many enemies. So if his ass ever get busted like a grape, you're gonna be feeling like us as Errol Spence fans, wondering, okay, what we gonna do? Where we gonna go? How, blah blah blah. Well, we gotta evaluate this guy. We gotta look at this. Do not stop becoming the same fan base that you despise. You're doing the same thing. Y'all out here talking and sounding and doing some of the same thing. Y'all using some of the same talking points. Y'all have some of that same catty behavior. Y'all just making everything toxic. And the thing is, Boots ain't even with it. That's the thing. Boots ain't with it. Boots graded himself in the last before. He gave himself a C. Y'all was, oh man, they always talk about him getting hit and he got to keep his hands up, blah, 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 blah. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of people are caught up in this vein of since we in the Shakorian era, even though it's really not his era. If Devin is the face of YouTube boxing and Tank is the face of boxing, even though he's inactive, I don't know what the fuck Shakori is. But everybody's all like, oh, he get hit. Oh man, he don't. No, you're gonna get hit on your way, especially if you're a killer. I didn't knock Boots for getting hit. He's a killer. I said he the type of shit. He might get his palm slashed up on his way to bending your fingers back and knocking your head off. That's what happened. Tank get hit on this way. Was he getting hit when he did what he did to Leo Santa Cruz? He recognized the pattern. Leo Santa Cruz, they were like, if Tank just think he gonna, and it was over. That's what killers do. They get hit. So I didn't knock him on that. And then when I listen to Boots, he don't talk like his fan base. He don't. That's not like Bud and his only fan base and how Bud talk. That's not the same thing. Bud talk like his fan base, discrediting people, acting like that, and his fan base follow suit. The Boots only fans that converted, that they're morphed over and they converted from these Bud only fans, they talk and act the worst, but Boots ain't even like that. Boots is still humble. Boots is like, oh man, come on, man, don't get carried away. I mean, he has said something, but I think that's like kind of like feeling the moment, saying he the cash cow and all that. That's yet to be seen. So it was something. It was a couple things, one or two things he said. I'm like, I don't know, but I like Boots. But if you judge Boots based on how his fan base talk, you're gonna start hating Boots. That's why I'm like, I don't want to hear shit they got to say. I'd just rather just wait till Boots come out and pop out. Why? He's more level-headed. You listen to his fan base, you're gonna be ready to kick the shit out of somebody. So fan bases, man, they Toxic fan base, they just find a new host. They find another, like, it's people that's latching on to Abdullah that's being the same way. You got people that's latching on to some of these other guys, and they taking their toxic ass ways, but they are not. This is the key point. They are not representative of that boxer. That's just their fandemonium. So you gotta kind of like feed them with the long handle spoon, you know what I'm saying, and treat them like they slow. Cause like me, man, you know what I'm saying, if I wouldn't just hit a slow person in the head or knock a slow person down the steps. I just like, oh man, he's slow. I'll be on my predator shit. Like, man, you know, predators, they only really go up against like people that are threats. They want the creme de la creme, the one that's the most dangerous. They want the hottest smoke. But if you slow, if you remedial, if you dumb, I look at you like that. I can't take advantage of you and your dumb ass ways. You had no home training. You're toxic. You don't even love yourself. All you doing is projecting, getting online. So I just found that funny, man, because I was trying to stop it. I was putting out the markers. I was putting out, you know, I was blocking off the road and saying, listen, man, don't go down that road. Don't do that, man. We just got rid of that. And y'all bringing it back. Y'all just transformed and morphed over to a whole nother boxer, you know, using them same toxic ways. Y'all used to argue tooth and nail with all these Bud Only fans only to become them. That's just like when the locks, like when they got that Jay jerking you. When they had the Jay jerking you skit and they were talking about how they were jerking their artists, why were they talking about that? Because the way Diddy did them. And that's what I say all the time, man. We are in a society where when you get taken advantage of, you get raked over the coals. You don't go up and be like, I'm gonna change this and I'm gonna do that. When I get there, I'm gonna do this and do that. You don't do that. What you do is you grow up and do the very same thing to somebody else that was done to you. I don't know if y'all watch Chris Hansen and what he like to do. But a lot of them people that go and be doing that, something happened to them, and guess what? Instead of saying, you know what, I'm not gonna do it, I'm gonna be a person that's gonna stop it, I'm a barricade or whatever, guess what you do? You grow up and become just like them, doing it to somebody else. And that's my message to these toxic ass fans, man. Y'all are sickening, y'all are ruining boxing, y'all are like a cancer that need to be cut out. The last one, Tito Mercado versus To Go. My man Tito Mercado, y'all know 140 is my division. And I'm just glad that the man is active. Like, To Go, meh. I'm meh. But guess what? He's staying active. It's not going to be like, oh, man, he's coming off a layoff and he ain't got this. But when he go out there and he put that demo on, he get that man out of there in about 3 or 4 or 5 rounds, 5 rounds tops. His name's gonna be back up there again, and he'll have another notch on his belt, and he done stayed active because he came off inactivity this last time. Still got it. He was looking sharp, razor sharp. I seen an interview with Frank Martin the other day on Brian Custer. I didn't really get much out of it. The first 6 minutes of it was him talking about Earl Spence. I'm like, why do y'all get these boxers on your platform and y'all want to talk about every other boxer? Don't have me on your show and you want to talk to me and you want to talk about AC and you want to talk about all these other motherfuckers. Like, come on, man. You got me. So I ain't pulled much, but what I did pull was that Frank Martin was saying that Tito was just talking. He's like, man, he just yapping and blah, blah, blah. I would love to see that scrap. 2 of my guys at 140. Outside of Frank going up against Tank, I always said Frank was one of my guys. I had to call it out and say it was a duck. What happened with that Shakur Stevenson? Because by the letter of the law, it was a duck. You signed paperwork. It was going down. You found out how much money was down. You like, oh, no, I want a little extra. But you had already committed. Your team already committed. Your team thought that what you was getting and what they was getting was going to be good. I called it. He justified it by going ahead and fighting Tank. They didn't make the situation with Shakur, not the situation with Shakur, but then it justified itself when he went and fought Tank. And that man made some bread. We thought he was really a ghost because he disappeared for a minute. But the man came back against Barthélemy, right? Looked spectacular. Came back, looked meh against Albright. Albright is just one of them awkward, tough customers, not making no excuses for him, but he just gonna make you look bad. He just, you know what I'm saying? Unless you got, you know what I'm saying, something special for him, you know. But I would love to see Frank Martin and Tito Mercado get it on. And I think they might be on the crash collision course. I don't know how long, because if they keep avoiding Tito gonna have to go get he gonna have to pull a Rohan Blanco. Roland Polanco couldn't really get a lot of smoke at 40, and he jumped up to 47. I thought that was premature, but I want to see Tito Mercado and Roland Polanco. I would have loved to see that at 40. But I'll take a Frank Martin and a Tito Mercado. But I think Tito Mercado, they keep playing dodgeball with this dude, because I think he the goods. I really do. I like Frank Martin. You know what I'm saying? I just hope Frank Martin can stay active, and they, well, he's with the best matchmakers in the business, because we all know Top Rank died and how they're going to match him. So they're going to have Frank looking spectacular as long as he ain't smelling himself and, you know what I'm saying, swimming in his money like Mr. Scrooge, Scrooge McDuck. He going to be all right. But I think that's a crash collision coming, and those are two of my guys at 140. So check out that Brian Custer interview if you get a chance with Frank Martin. And then Tito, he's making his runs now because on the 15th, I believe, he fights. So that's not this weekend, but the next weekend he fights. So that's the housekeeping, y'all. What you got, AC?
Well, I'm gonna start with Tito Mercado. Yeah, I'm happy he's being busy. To me, his career at this point is just about staying busy, getting as many eyes on you as possible, because you're not signed to like one of the big four. Like in college basketball, a Big 8, or football, a Big 4, however you want to look at it. He's not signed to any of those. He's like a independent artist. You know what I'm saying? So that independency can have, it's like a double-edged sword. In one way, it gives you a little bit freedom to move the way you kind of really want to, because you're the commodity. On the other hand, it kind of stifles your payments or your earning potential, because everybody's gonna try to use the independent part to say, well, was he good enough to make it to the big stage and be signed by one of the big four? So it's like this weird thing, but when you kind of look at it, some of the best artists that we've ever heard, whether it's Western music, R&B music, hip hop music, house music, whatever it is you listen to, some of the best goddamn legendary music was signed by independent artists. So it is just what it is. And you can have an independent artist that's signed to a major label, but he still has the ability, or she still has the ability, to move independently. So that's the plus or minus of how they're going to try to talk about Tito, because I've already heard it in certain things where I was like, well, I was questioning people, and I was saying, I mentioned 8 fighters. One person was like, yeah, and I'm with Bud because nobody wants to fight Shakur. And I was like, well, I can name 8 right now, including a young, contender named Tito Mercado. Oh, Tito just signed to this, and Tito ain't gonna get no big fights because he signed to an independent label. He should have signed to this, he should have signed to that, he should have signed to somebody's mother. And it's just like, bro, that none of that bullshit matters. If you're chasing the smoke, it don't matter where you sign. You recognize the other steel. If steel sharpens steel, you know where the steel factories are, you know where the steel mills are, and that's where you run. If I want to be the sharpest knife in the drawer, I'm not going to bury myself under everybody else. I'm going to do what I got to do to let you know, listen, I'm over here by myself because I'm just that dangerous. And I'm over here in this independent thing because this is what I have the ability to let them know, instead of them telling me who I'm going to fight to a certain degree. I can tell them, look, I really want to get this fight. Can we make this fight? And a lot of times that's the way those smaller independent places move. They try to make those big fights. So that's it. That's the good thing about it. Stop looking at it as, oh, he can't do this, and tell me what he can do, nigga. So that's kind of where I am with Tito, and I'm happy he's just busy, because again, the more you fight, the more you're in the ring, you're gonna be on somebody's card and people are gonna see you. That's how Abdullah Mason got there, because he was busy and he was fighting and he was showing up and showing out. It's just that simple. That's the winning formula. You can cookie cut that shit and sell it any 7 days a week. But these younger fighters want to get to the big ones and then, okay, how you want to move me? What? What? I thought you was really about that. And now it's like when you're asked, it's, oh, whatever my team and whatever they put in front of me. Okay. For some fighters, it worked like that. For some of you other guys, it ain't gonna work like that because you think you're someplace you're not. But just with that, I'm just happy he's busy. I'm happy, we get to see him in the ring again, and hopefully it starts to generate, and then he gets that marquee name that on a good card, or he headlines his card, and people are like, oh, this was the Tito Mercado these guys have been talking about, these boxing, purists and shit like that been talking about. This is that dude. Yeah, now I could see why some of these guys want to duck him. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for. The toxic fan base. Yeah, this was a good one right here because there was something that I myself use. I hear Body use. I hear a lot of diehard boxing fans use, and almost everybody uses it. But for me, I just kind of wanted to clarify this particular term to be like, okay, it all depends on how you do it. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And this is one of those situations. And the term I'm going to use is pocket watching, because dudes will come out and they'll tell you what this guy's last thing was. I watched a dude on a channel break down the fighters, these two fighters that were supposed to fight. He broke down each one of these fighters' pay, and net worth and all of this other stuff. Okay, I feel like this. If the information is public, I'm not pocket watching. Like when we were in the streets, there's a legitimate hater, and you pull up and you got your motorcycle or you whatever, and he's like, yeah, but that bike only costing you claiming you paid X amount for that bike and them tires and your chain and your jeans and your sneakers, blah 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 blah. How much did you pay for that? Okay, you're pocket watching. None of that shit is important. I don't give a fuck what your favorite fighter's mortgage is. I don't give a fuck what they pay for a car. That's pocket watching. I don't give a fuck what Shakur Stevenson paid for a watch, and somebody comes up there and puts it on a video and says, yeah, these watches cost whatever, and there was, he spent $300,000 on 3 watches. So fucking what? He got the money to do it. That's pocket watching. But when you try to come at me and tell me about purses, this is what these professional fighters are getting paid. That is not pocket watching, because the same principle was who got what deal in hip hop. Biggie Small broke the record because he was the first to get a 6-figure deal. Biggie, a 6-figure deal. That's in the hundreds of thousands. 7 is million. Drake broke that with the $7 million deal. Biggie did it in the early 90s with a 6-figure signing deal. So when there's public information like that, it's not pocket watching. When dudes is telling me, yeah, I seen Biggie and I know how much he spent for his chain. Nigga, you pocket watching. I know how much he spent on his baby mama sneakers. Nigga, you pocket watching. I don't give a fuck about that. If it's a person, we talking about purses and a guy's worth, that is not pocket watching in my opinion. This is public information. This is the same thing motherfuckers talk about when they talk about these baseball players, and these guys have bigger podcasts with millions and millions of subscribers that actually pay to listen to these motherfuckers. And some of these dudes wind up on ESPN and Fox and other sports networks talking about fighters' contracts, what they are making. Oh, he got signed to a $96 million deal over the next 3 years or 5 years. What does that break down per year, per game? That is not pocket watching. That's being informative to say, all right, if this dude gets injured, the company made this big ass investment on a guy who just can't stay out, just can't not be injured. You've seen it in football players, you've seen it in baseball players, you've seen it in basketball players. And then what happens? That guy just gets thrown away, and it's, oh, that's an unfortunate situation. He was plagued by injury. Nobody was pocket watching the fact that it was like that, and he got removed from the team because they made a big ass investment that didn't pan out. So let's just clear that up, because it's weaponized in certain situations. When a dude starts talking about this, and then you bring up in the case of Keyshawn, yeah, Keyshawn making this, I don't pocket watch because Keyshawn blah 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 blah. Okay, if that's the case, then don't talk to me and don't cover the fact that Keyshawn's biggest pay, he never received it. So for him to pay him the 1.5 and stuff like, yeah, but you pocket watching, see, I don't agree to that. And yo, listen, all of that's irrelevant. I just want to know, was the fight made? Well, the fight doesn't get made unless these niggas get the money right, bruh. That is not pocket watching. The money is a big percentage of whether the fight is gonna happen or not. After he get paid, if you want to talk about how much he spent on his fucking new era baseball cap, that I'm not gonna engage you in that conversation. But if you're trying to convince me that this guy is the bag and he's got all of this money and everybody's doing this, and then we start saying, okay, if he's the bag, what is his average purse per fight? Oh, you pocket watching. That's not pocket watching. You're bringing up something that's financial. So I'm asking you to break down the financial. Well, I'm not going to pocket. Then you see, you want to talk me into a fucking loop, and now you nothing me to death, man. Shut the fuck up. Because I'm not trying to hear that dumb shit. Then don't talk about nobody money. Don't even tell me, yo, listen, I got money. I don't want to hear that. You know, so that's just one of my pet peeves. And yeah, we all do it, but we have to like let it be known in the context. Okay, at the end of the day, I'm only talking in context of purses. You're saying that this guy deserves $3 and $5 and $8 million, and people are talking about Keyshawn, and Keyshawn, you know, yeah, he had every right to walk away from the fight at top rank because Keyshawn is worth at least $4 or $5 million for a fight against Devin Haney. Okay, I brought up things that showed you. Floyd Mayweather got 4.41 point something million. Canelo didn't even break 5 million. Supposed to get 5. When you talk about the percentages of that, Keyshawn getting 25% of the total purse, what the fuck was wrong with that? Canelo took a chance to go up against the best defensive guy in the fucking boxing industry at that time in Floyd Mayweather, and he lost. But what happened is, because he fought his heart out, it promoted him. He got a kick off of that. Because when you fight Floyd and you give some good work, you will become famous off of it. You fight Tank, you give Tank some good work, you will profit off of that. Well, Tank this and Tank that. Well, at the end of the day, dudes are taking the standard of PBC money and then move on, and then get the back end money. Fucking Gary Russell just broke down what Keyshawn did, and Gary Russell said the same thing I've been saying. It don't matter the money. What matters is you being the guy to dictate the terms after the fact. What is your primary goal? Is to win and dictate the terms in your next fights. And if I bust your big name ass, I get to do both of those. That's the scary shit. That's why sometimes when you talk about the money, it matters. Because it's not about the money when they try to tell you it's about the money. It's about your fucking heart, homie. It's about whether you really, 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 really believe in yourself and believe in your skill set. It comes down to whether your camp believes in you. So if you want to be a toxic fan, go ahead. Go ahead. But here's the thing. If your toxic fans was examined by psychiatrists, they would tell you niggas is suffering from generational shit. The way you were raised is more likely the way you'll behave as an adult when shit gets thick. So at the end of the day, if you was raised in a toxic community, you're going to be, then that makes a very, very scary opponent. And now he's learning how to box off of that. So it's like, yeah, I see why certain things are happening. So for me, Rolly, you've always pretty much been yourself, did things by your own way, continue to do the same thing. You already know what being Hollywood can get you. You tried to come out and be Hollywood, and Tank knocked some sense into you. And now you're more calm, you're more focused, and you're like, listen, I ain't trying to get knocked out like that again. I need to take this shit more serious. Fuck all the other shit. So, you know, like I said before, Tank knocks maturity into these dudes, because then they go on to do great things. Look at Ryan. He was a clown before he got to Tank, and then Tank fucked him up, and he started to get his shit together. Same thing with Rolly. So, yeah, that's what it is. And for me, Rolly, use your martial arts background and keep that situational awareness. Remember, you know, where you are. Any room you enter, make sure you notice all the important things about that room. Exits, entrances, you know, vulnerable points, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be all right. This type of fight, you'll get there. Where you always wanted to be, and where you wanted to be when you first came in with the fur coats and the weird pants and the sunglasses on 90-degree weathers. No, that didn't do it. This shit right here is doing it for you. So yeah, keep up that good work, Rolly. And you know, I just hope you don't change, because your fan base is starting to come together, because you're showing certain things that people can get behind, and a slight level of genuine that people are like, yeah, I like Rolly. You know, he speaks, you know, this new Rolly 2.0 is the dude that's like, yeah, I can trust in what you're saying. So other than that, man, I'm rooting for you in this fight that's coming up. And I just want you to remember that, you know, whatever should happen after this fight, you do have a solid fan base. But if you get weird, that solid fan base is more than likely going to turn on you, because we're just tired of weird boxers. And that's where I
know you want to be down like Brandy, you know what I'm saying? But why didn't you stick up for me when Devin did what he did? Why you trying to be my friend now? And that would let these people know, because they start feeling themselves just because they getting these interviews. Like, you're getting placed there. All these plants are getting interviews. It's crazy how hardcores, people who know these boxers, who ain't gonna be sensational, who defend and uplift and point out real facts and give you like real logical empirical data to justify these boxers, we don't get no pub, we don't get no opportunity. They ignore us, but they'll go to somebody that shit on them last week. I've seen several fighters who, I look at these guys, they shit on these dudes, then they turn around and go do interviews with them. So I would take if I was Rolly, I would take a page out of Errol Spence's book and call these niggas out for not standing up for him when Devin did that bullshit that he did. Don't try to be my friend now. Or I'll be like, hey, look, I'll do the interview, but look, man, going forward, you know I'm watching you and I see what you're doing. So if you got a chance in the platform with all these numbers and all that, man, you need to say what needs to be said about me. Don't just tuck your head down in the sand and act like bullets ain't flying, especially when people are aiming at me. No, use your platform, use your voice to defend me, to stick up, to say, hey man, what happened with Rolly? Because I was looking at it like this, and then speak the truth. There's not enough people doing it. There's too many sellouts out here. Salute to Thomas Hill. He say Bodywork. He said salute to AC as well. The other thing is just to touch and go, because I don't really want to get on this, but when it comes down to Keyshawn, what it boils down to, because on that interview I seen right after Oliveira, they had one of Jay Prince's sons come up here, and he was like, man, if you can read between the lines, business gotta be right. I'm like, what business? Okay, so at this point in time, at the 147 division, where nobody is unified, and Devin Haney is the biggest name up there with the most accolades solid right now, aside from T.O. If T.O. were to get a belt, they'll be neck and neck. But like, which fighter can Keyshawn fight that will give him the accolade, right? And think about that. But these same people are out here defending. I heard Punch Drunk. I seen a title, and he was saying, "Oh, Keyshawn's not to blame for this delusional market value." How long we been talking about market value, AC? We've been talking about market value for about 2 years now, as far as what Turkey did, how he overinflated. We first started talking about it when it came down to Shakur, when he went over the Matchroom, who had the back door over there to Turkey to get the extra, like, to get way more money than what he's worth. Like, to sit up here and try to say, how do you know he's worth $5? Because if he had got it already, or half of that, then you could say that maybe. But you can't say that. How was he worth $5 and he never got 2.5? He never made one. He might have brushed right up on one. So how him brushing up on one, him getting a belt, him, losing this shit, talking about he was drinking. He got a no contest to Albright the first time, was justified the second one because he didn't know the business laws as a businessman down there in Texas, man. Damn. Like, this shit is just dumb. It's simple math. There's not another guy at welterweight that Keyshawn can fight that will give him the accolade. Fuck the money. But then if you say, okay, well, we prize fighters, we get hit in the head for a living. What you mean, fuck the money? Okay, well, what other fight minus the accolade is going to give you $3 million? There ain't no way around it. So for pussy ass Punch Drunk to come out here and, it's not Keyshawn fight for this delusional market value, for you to defend it, why are you taking that stance? That's why I always say it's always going to be somebody that come out here and they're going to take some weird, awkward, stupid ass stance just to kind of like hold on to a little bit of the market share of that fan base. Fuck that fan base if they down with that shit. Fuck them fans. Fuck him too. Inflated self-worth, overinflated market value, overinflated set of skills. That nigga ain't got a belt since he was at 35. How the fuck is he number one at 47? We been calling that. But with all this fake ass outrage about sanctioned bodies and all that, what about the sanctioned body putting his ass at number one? No fake ass outrage there. Now I hear he like at number 7, but I didn't even care to look it up. Why? Because I don't give a fuck about Keyshawn. I stopped giving a fuck about Keyshawn when he was clout chasing Tank. Talking about knock and doing all this stuff and saying his name, knowing damn well he wasn't gonna go nowhere near Tank. For nothing. Fuck them niggas, man. We ain't giving them no attention, man. They don't get no play in GA unless it's like housekeeping and we gonna touch and go and we gonna move on, man. But fuck him. You know what I'm saying? I bet you, and he might get his ass busted with his next opponent. Why? Because he ain't gonna get no easy touches. He's at 147. Well, out of the 40, my division, 40s are migrating to the welterweight division. And there's some people that's off the radar at 47 that might bust his ass. Why? Because they got skills, they can box, and they got pop. And I don't even know if his dimensions, his dimensions are all right. You know what I'm saying? He go to the body, that he got that as an asset that might protect him and help him, right? But there's some guys that been getting punched on by them. We don't even know what kind of chin he got. So
Body,
like, fuck Quack Sean, man. That nigga's a duck. Anybody in this nigga, man, we need to have some rotisserie duck for your ass too.
Exactly, and I'm gonna say it like this, bro, and this is where I'm gonna end it off at. If Keyshawn Davis is at number 7, which I just checked, and he is, the outrage of the sanctioning bodies should be reverberating because let's look at something here, right? Hamza Shiraz was across the top to face any of the champions. Janabek had called Hamza out and forced the fight, right? And for some reason, when that happened, the WBC just a couple of days prior to that, I mean, the WBO just a couple of days prior to that said, if any fighter or champion turns down a mandated fight, you're completely taken out of the WBO ranking. That fight went all the way to purse bid. And as his reward, he doesn't get taken out of the rankings like Hamza Shiraz did. He gets booted back down to number 7. So how much money did Jay Prince spend to keep Keyshawn Davis in the WBO rankings? Because you had to come back and repay that knowing that that man was going to get dropped according to the WBO rules. So within that 24-hour period, Jay Prince put out more money for you to do this particular thing. So how they're treating with the WBO and how their Jay Prince is moving, these are questions that fans should be asking, because it's not like it's unfair. What was unfair is what they did to Hamza Shiraz. So that's just that observation I wanted to put out there.
Yeah, all the way around, it's just a bad look, man. And I hope he get his ass busted by a nobody. You know what I'm saying? And they were saying this might be a ploy just for him to go over to Zuffa. Well, guess what? You take your ass over to Zuffa. Some combination of you and Richardson Hitchens and Shakur and you, that's gonna happen, y'all. And if they go over to that fucking island, because that's what they saying, Keyshawn did. That's why I say he purposely missed weight. He purposely missed weight so they can say, oh, well, he is big and he is blah, blah, blah. He's going to 147. That was just to justify the move. But if he go over there and they said that this was just a tactic really because they saying Top Rank don't owe him a fight to 27, he might be trying to get dropped from Top Rank so he can take his ass over to Zuffa. But guess what happened? Guess what's going to happen? Because everybody went over to when PBC joined, and all of the promotional companies was over there on the zone where platform didn't matter because we all fighting the platform. Some people got straight up platform deals. Like damn near any fight can happen. What everybody been waiting for and wanting for happen. If he take his ass over to that island, they're gonna have to fight each other. So take your ass over there to that island, and guess what? You might have to fight. You might be forced to fight Richardson Hitchens, or drop down and fight Ryu, or fucking fight Shakur. Or Shakur might have to fight Richardson Hitchens, or Shakur might have to fight Keyshawn. So let that shenanigans catch up. And for all these businessmen to be condoning this business shit is BS. So, hey, that's all I got. That's all the energy I got for Quack Sean and Shaquack and Quack Sean, the twat bros. In full effect. And I'm gonna land right here. You was gonna be the man that actual rival Devin Haney. And I thought, okay, man, maybe he got a shot because he got some body work, but I still thought Devin was gonna whoop your ass because you're not disciplined enough. But you went from being the guy that was gonna hit Debo in the head with a brick to making Debo look like he's larger than life. And guess what happened? You fucked up his payday. So all the people that's gloating and talking about all this and all, oh man, Devin, this is all you want. This is how you should model. Shut that dumb ass shit up, because Devin ain't got to fight. But y'all inflated his ego even more because Quack Sean ducked. So his ego is inflated even more. And guess what? It wasn't a win, like I said originally. Purse bids are not a win. Why? Because the fans didn't get the fucking fight. People even went on after the purse bid trying to match make Quack Sean, and also trying to make it seem like, oh, okay, well, maybe he might revisit it and still take the $3 million, because now, you know what I'm saying, maybe he should. Shut that soft ass shit up, in my Adrian Broner voice. Shut that soft ass shit up. Devin need to go fight a killer. Cause yeah, he got exonerated for this Quack Sean shit, but he ain't in no better place either. Cause he done ducked 2 other people. He done ducked 3 other people. He ducked Ryan, he ducked Rolly, he ducked Tank. He pressed the gas on Keyshawn, and Keyshawn played chicken with him, and Keyshawn swerved out the middle of the road. That don't mean Devin is hot shit right now at this point because he made Keyshawn crash out, Clout Sean Davis crash out. That's his nature. And that pressure is going to be so hard for Keyshawn in this next fight, he might get his ass busted like a grape. But going to the meat and potatoes, man, unless you got something, you know what I'm saying? You got anything else before we get into the meat and potatoes?
I'm good.
Word. On a lighter, more positive, better note, we're talking about Moses Itauma. Now, I'm probably not pronouncing his name right because it's Itauma. It's Itauma, like by the pronunciation, but I'm gonna call him Itauma because that's easier for me to say. But this segment was inspired, like I said before, by the heavyweight. Like whenever we talk about heavyweights, I got a playlist, right? And it was inspired by Mike Tyson. This is the playlist. It's called Talk Heavy. That's the thumbnail for it. It's called Talk Heavy. That show a young Mike, and then it show an aged Mike, man. Wise and still, still silly. But Mike was a motherfucking animal, man. That's what the theme of whenever we talk about heavyweights, and it's specified just for heavyweights. I called it Talk Heavy. I want to show y'all something. I'm probably gonna get a copyright, but I don't own the rights to the video footage of it. But this is why we're there, because we had a hopeful, and stick around because I got some nutritional value. We had a hopeful, but that hopeful let us down, and this is how we got to where I'm at right now, where I'm like, man, Frank Sanchez is my guy. But in doing my research, I was saying, yeah, who the U.S. got? Man, we got F.A. Jogba, we got Frank Sanchez, and it was clarified like, nope, Frank Sanchez is actually Cuban, so you really not gonna be able to take claim. I was like, damn, I call him the Sasquatch, and especially with him doing what he did to Torres, I was like, wow. But this is how we got here, and I want to play this. Because this would be a good segue to actually get off into it. It's not I don't own the rights to the footage, right? But this is what I used to do before YouTube started, you know what I'm saying, dinging me. And y'all know when I played that my little clip about Earl with him, his little run, they copyright strike me, right? So that one ain't make no bread. So hit that Cash App, man. Hit that Cash App. Because I'm probably not gonna be able to get super chats on this video after this video is done. But I used to put in work. That's my thing, these graphics and all of that kind of stuff. Salute OG Cass. He said salute Bodywork Boxing. Salute OG. But yeah, I got copyrighted for that last video when I did that tribute to Earl. With that video, because this is my lane. Them graphics, all of that, that's my lane. Like video, graphics, all of that, that's my lane. That's really what I want to do. But I don't own the material, so they always copyright me. That's why I stopped doing it, because it'll make you take a chunk out your video, and then your video, the timing will be off, like the word, it won't be synced up, and it'll be done. But I'm gonna do it anyway because this is how we got here. So let me present this to y'all. Real quick. It's real short. It's only 3 minutes. But this is how we got here, y'all, because the last hopeful, I thought it was going to be a crash collision with Jared Anderson and Fabio Wardley. And Bacoli, we seen what Bacoli did to Fabio Wardley. I mean, we seen what Dubois did to Fabio Wardley, which is still my guy, but I thought it was going to be Fabio Wardley and Jared Anderson, maybe next lifetime. And then I had hope in Jared Anderson, man. I still got a little gleam of hope, but he's not active, and I don't know where his head is at. But this is actually how we got here, y'all. Let me play this. So that's how we got here, y'all. So y'all can see how I'm down bad because I thought Jared was going to be the guy that was going to, take us to the promised land, man. It's a couple other guys out here, but it's a young guy from across the pond. I appreciate you, OG. That's my forte, man. I can make movies, man. I just don't have the time, man. That's why I'm working for myself. I'm trying to rustle up some ends so I can actually get into what I really want to do. Graphics, visuals, all of that kind of stuff is my lane, man. And I would do more of that in boxing had they not copyrighted me, and I got more support to be able to do these things. But that was just a visual presentation to show you what happened, what upended the Jared Anderson thing. But like I said, man, we got a young man who he's in the shadows of Mike, right? But he's slightly behind Mike because Mike was younger than him. And Mike was an anomaly, man. I can't say never. They say never say never. But as far as being young, when Mike was able to do it and how he was able to do it, it was definitely because of his upbringing and his background. You could say there was more violence when it came to Mike. Mike was a nightmare, man. Some of the things Mike said in his press conferences and all that, he was just one of them dudes where if you got locked up, man, you ain't want to be in a cell like with that nigga. Like you might go to solitary for a little while, man, and it wouldn't be people wouldn't be like, oh man, you a bi for doing all. It's just like I wouldn't want to be in there. Mike was the closest thing to a lion in human form, man. Mike was terrible, man. Like some of the things that Mike said, Mike told this one dude, he was like, man, he basically pulled the old Jody. You remember when Jody on Baby Boy? Y'all remember what Jody on Baby Boy said? What Melvin told Jody? He said, little Jody, he said, we was on 24 hours locked down. He said, I'll make you get on your knees and fix it. Then he licked him on his head. I'm like, man, somebody got to die. That was Mike, man. So I'm not saying that most of the time is Mike. No, but I'm saying that in age, he's close. And with the road that he has laid before him, he has a path to where he can go on a run, and he's going to garner a lot of fans, right? But my question is, man, should we adopt Moses Itauma? And I know y'all think I'm being funny, but should we as American fans, because we hurting so bad, we so thirsty, we thirsty for another star, especially in Tank's absence, right? And some of the young guys like Abdullah Mason still coming on, and the Shockey Fosters of the world not getting a shot, right? Is it okay if we adopt another heavyweight? I'm being funny, but like I'm also being serious. Because ready or not, here comes Moses Itauma, right? That's a good question, y'all. All feedback is welcome, man. Do some body work on my like button. And it'll be hard for current boxer to imitate that Customato presence. Yeah. Customato was a boxing genius. Boxing genius, man. I don't know if you ever talk about old Customato and then that, and Teddy and all of that kind of stuff, but I was always intrigued by Customato, man. I would have loved to be able to sit down and interview him or be in the presence of an interview with him just to pick his boxing mind. Because some people, they are genius in their boxing mind, man. But this the nutritional value portion of it all, right? Should America adopt Moses Itauma? Ready or not, here I come. If America doesn't have a heavyweight herd, why not support the most exciting young heavyweight in the world? But I think he is the most exciting. I still like Fabio Worley. I'm not one of them guys where you take a loss and all that because you are a soldier. You are a soldier. Worley is a soldier. He's still one of my guys. Jared Anderson, he's still one of my guys. I just don't know where his head at. Those are still my. I'm not a fair weather. I'm not gonna be like, nah, man. You got loyalty until you do some stuff like what Keyshawn doing and what Richardson Hitchens doing. Until you do something like that, I'm still gonna rock with you. I'm gonna critique you, but I'm gonna rock with you. I'm not like that, man. I like if you down with me, you if I fuck with you, I fuck with you. So I'm not just going, you know what I'm saying, do that to you. But American heavyweight has a problem. The golden era is gone. The era with Tyson and Holyfield and Riddick Bowe and Lewis, Wilder. He was the last one. I wasn't that big on Wilder, to be honest. So I'm not gonna sit up here and act like it. I do know he had that equalizer, but I wasn't as big. And maybe it was YouTube boxing that turned me off because he had a toxic fan base behind him. But I am considerate and appreciative of the run and the knockout power and that equalizer and his background. So I'm not, I'm still a student of the game, but I can acknowledge that Wilder was a bad man. I didn't like the whole thing with Mark Breland and how a year after, he separated from him because if you take your first loss after having 40 plus victories, all of them except for one by knockout, and then you fire your coach, I'm not with it. And then a year later, that alphabet community, the LDBC, LMNOP community was celebrating a year later after Mark Breland got laid off. We just had to scare Mark Breland because he was missing for a while, and I seen him the other day. I guess he's been found and he was throwing punches in combination. So salute to Mark Breland, man. One of the best amateur heavyweights that we've had. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. Today, no dominant American heavyweight champion. Heavyweight division is largely controlled by Europe. Yeah, hey, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you've been paying attention, that's what's going on. American fans have no young heavyweight to rally behind. America isn't lacking heavyweight fans. It's heavyweight fans because they say as the heavyweight division, so goes boxing, and look at where boxing at. You know what I'm saying? America is lacking a heavyweight to believe in. Who are America's best heavyweights? The top 10 active heavyweights. You got Michael Hunter, hell of a fighter. I like Michael Hunter, but he's inactive. You might see him once every leap year or something. Like, where's Michael Hunter? He got it in with Bacoli first. You know what I'm saying? Like, devastating heavyweight. Got all kind of mad skill. He's just not active. Jared Anderson. We just talked about Jared Anderson. Richard Torres. We seen what Sanchez did to Torres. With Bomac in his corner. But I digress. Deontay Wilder. He's on his last leg. Jermaine Franklin. We don't look at Jermaine Franklin as a world beater. He's like a litmus test. He's a measuring stick. He's a bona fide gatekeeper. If you are elite, you can get past him. If you're not elite, he's going to probably do you in. Gerald Miller, with all the adverse findings and everything in his background, and head made all the difference to, Charles Martin. I mean, shoot, we seen he caught Jared. You know what I'm saying? That was probably Jared's wake up call. But Jared was so athletic and conditioned at the time, and his confidence was there that he was able to get past what Charles Martin did, because Charles Martin gave him a little scare, but he wound up, you know what I'm saying? He wound up doing what he needed to do with Charles Martin. Brandon Moore, Cassius Chaney, and Price Taylor. Most of y'all probably don't even know them. And why include them? Because they're young and developing and all that, but like, you can't discount the young and developing guys. Why? Because in all honesty, most of the time they're still developing. He's just getting pushed to the forefront because his skill demands such. But the setback, Jared Anderson, he was young, he is young, athletic, heavy-handed, future champion expectations. And then Martin Bacoli changed everything. We just saw Martin Bacoli's big right hand. His aura disappeared. America's heavyweight future became uncertain. And then enters Moza Itauma. I'm right in the middle, y'all, if y'all following along. I'm trying to go through this fast, but so I can give it to AC and let him chime in. But enter Moses Itauma. He's 21 years old. He's a southpaw. You know, I have a bias with southpaws, y'all. I'm a southpaw. You know what I'm saying? He's explosive. He has fast hands. He's a violent finisher. Fuck all of this. Oh man, you need, you know, Artemis and Gallagher to try to tell us what you did. Hey, like AC, he be making a joke. He said it's like porn. He's like, man, if you got to read and hear the lines and see the lines, it's not good, man. Like it's just like good sex. If I got to explain, oh no, because what I did was I put your legs up. You know, like he's a violent finisher. You're not gonna have to sit up there and take no, you know, astronomy, anatomy classes as to when you see this guy get in the ring. He's a violent finisher. You can be like, damn, he hit his ass with that left hook and it was over. You ain't have to do all of that stuff that you gotta do with some of these other guys that was like, oh, you don't know shit about boxing because I critiqued you, and I ain't like the fact that you was running and dipping and dodging. Nah, you ain't gotta worry about that with Itauma. Championship opportunity. Boxing may have found its next heavyweight attraction. Is Moses Itauma boxing's next heavyweight attraction? Why fans love him? He doesn't fight to win. He fights to win. Fast combinations, body punching, body work, aggression. I love some aggression. Effective aggression. That's part of the scoring criteria. Knockout mentality. I like this because in this era, where you'll have Sergio Mora and Chris Mannix doing the unofficials and all that, you can't risk this. This is why I told my lady this a long time ago, and she be telling me now, she like, man, see, this why, man, because we be seeing people get robbed, we be seeing people get pickpocketed. She be telling me now, she like, man, see, that's why, man, we can't let it go to the judges, man. And I be like, you right, baby. That's why you gotta be. That's why I have a bias with knockout artists. It's not that you're gonna knock everybody out. It's just that you need to be able to go through the gears, figure somebody out, and then go ahead and get the job done and execute. And if you get a couple knockdowns, okay, cool, that's better. But you gotta be able to take it into your own hands. Why? Because you can win a fight. Chuck versus Virgil, knocked them down twice. Didn't get counted. And they said Virgil won that fight. But we know what our eyes saw. I still fuck with Virgil. He's in my boxes to watch. He's a piranha in my box. Well, I still fuck, but we seen what happened. We've seen that where fighters get knocked down twice and then still get their hand raised. You gotta be able to take it into your own hands and render the judgment with the ones and twos. He doesn't waste rounds, so it's not gonna be one of them. You know how we get into these fights where it's like rent, and a lot of the guys that I'm high on, but I'm like I can't stamp them as elite. That's what they do. They fall asleep in the middle round. It'd be Rochambeau, it'd be rinse, wash, and repeat. It's like, okay, now make the adjustment. Like we in round 5, next thing you know, you in round 9, and what didn't happen? The same thing. He ain't doing that. Excitement travels. Great fighting styles don't require passports. So if somebody is must-see TV, why you think Anyway is so big? The little guy Bam, man. Nobody, you ain't from San Antonio, but everybody know who Bam is. Tank is from Baltimore, little old Baltimore. For years, it was the heroin capital of the nation. Why you think it travels? He's a knockout artist. He not in that pussyfooting around. He know, okay, he might be downloading data and working his magic, and then next thing you know, boom, he might have you smoking cigarettes like Tweet, but he gonna get the job done once he land his shit. Living in Tyson's shadow, Mike Tyson, youngest heavyweight champion ever, 20 years old. Most of the time, can't break Tyson's record, but may become the first young heavyweight since Tyson to make fans feel something special has arrived. When you see the guy fight, it do feel like it's something special in the ride, and it's a level of violence there. But most of the time, it's not that scary ass chaotic violence like Mike, with him dipping down in the eyebrows and you know what I'm saying, his physique and all that. Most of the time, it's almost like a baby face fucking killer. You know what I'm saying? He'll smile in your face and then put your lights out. America has done this before. We've already adopted foreign fighters. Manny Pacquiao, that was one of my favorite fighters. I used to go to bars when I was over the road truck driving. I would stop I remember when he fought Cotto. I remember where I was. I remember like it was yesterday. I was in South Carolina at a bar. I watched Pacquiao fight Cotto, and Cotto was winning, but Pacquiao came back and turned up. I used to love Manny Pacquiao, man. Julio Cesar Chavez, the Mexican, Roberto Duran, Triple G, Canelo, another Mexican. Fans don't adopt flags. Fans adopt fighters. The counter argument, because there's gonna people that I know it's one major channel because he shit on everything that's across the pond. I'm like, well, one of your rites of passage, that's another thing on as far as when I look at fighters. Have you ever went across the pond? A lot of people don't even know this. Tank went across the pond. Devin went across the pond. That's why we were saying Boots need to go ahead and get what he got to do with Josh Kelly, because that's a rite of passage. That's one of the rites of passage. Errol Spence went over there getting thrown brownies at him and everything. He broke Kell Brook's will. He made him submit him like, man, don't hit me no more. He got down on one knee and was like, I had enough. And Kell Brook was putting up a wonderful fight in that one. It was getting hairy for Errol. But Kell Brook is a bad man too. Correct. He's not American. Neither were Pacquiao, Duran, Golovkin, Canelo, yet American fans embrace them. Like, we don't give a fuck. That's why I say it'd be the dumbest talking point. Now, I've given myself permission to be selfish when it comes down to supporting American boxing because of the media push right now. That's why I do it, because the media is just, especially if it's PBC, they shitting all over. They just, like I said, you could be talking about Godzilla and King Kong, and they gonna come out and be like, I'm just glad that Godzilla just didn't sign with PBC, man. I'm just, whew. Anybody, but they do that. So with the media, and then, especially when we talking about the heavyweight division, since it's all across the pond, we got German and Caballero. We got all these different ethnicities, British, England. We got Dubois up there, who just did what he did to Bill Wardley. We still going to embrace great fighters, man. Like Lennox Lewis, one of my favorite fighters, man. Once he got his stuff intact, man, he would lean on your heel. That uppercut will come out of nowhere. I love watching Lennox Lewis, man. So I like current fighters today. I rock with Catterall. I think that he's a little up and down sometimes, right? But he seems like he's been locked in lately. But I like that little dude Kakasi. I also like this little dude named Selfa Barrett. I like Selfa Barrett, man. That little dude can fight. I like Galal Yafai. I like Fabio Wardley. I like guys from across the pond. It's just I'm not right now because of the state of boxing and where we're at and how the media has it and how, we'll shit on our own kind, man. It's just I can't promote them like that. You know what I'm saying? I can't take out time because there's a war going on and somebody got to put fresh water in the community lake. He hasn't proven himself. That's what people are going to say. Correct. I know it's a major channel. He shit on everything across the pond, and he got so many followers. I'm like, you can't do that. Why? Because our guy might have to fight that guy. So what you shitting on him, when our guy fight that guy, he beat shit down his leg, what you gonna say then? Oh, you gonna do that same shit you always do and be a hindsight 2020. I didn't know. No, you was on that bullshit. We don't care what color, what nationality you are. If you can fight, you can fight. You can box, you can box. He hasn't proven himself. Correct. That's exactly why this is the beginning of a journey. The best time to invest in a fighter is before everyone else does. So before everybody get on the bandwagon, you might want to take a look at this guy and be like, you know what? I'm going to judge him. Why? Because the run is getting ready to start on the 29th, right? He's fighting Hergovich, right? We know Hergovich got a history with Daniel Dubois. He was giving Daniel Dubois everything that he could handle, and then Daniel Dubois did what he do. He landed his shit, you know what I'm saying, and got that shit over with, right? But after that, guess what? He's going to have to fight Frank Sanchez, the one who I call the Sasquatch in my boxes to watch. Very scary man. Like, if somebody else wouldn't have blew my parlay, Frank Sanchez, actually won me money. I might have had him by himself. I think Frank Sanchez did win me money with that because everybody was all high on Torres. And see, this is another thing. Just because I'm American, I was not just pulling for the top-ranked American guy, Olympian in Torres, because I'm like, I saw flaws, and I'm like, man, Sanchez, he just didn't look right when he had that knee brace on there with Ajit Kabia. I was like, damn, I wouldn't even have put no bread down on him had I seen him come out there with that knee brace and how he was moving. But we saw what Frank Sanchez did to Torres. But guess what? After Moses Itauma fights Herkovich, Frank Sanchez, I think he stepped aside for this to go down because he's gonna have a winner. So what it's gonna look like with Moses Itauma, if he is to get past Herkovich, and then he has to go in there against Frank Sanchez and he do the unthinkable with Frank Sanchez. Woo! The verdict: America needs a heavyweight hero. No, Moses Itauma isn't American. But exciting boxing has never recognized borders. If it's a scrap, we watching. Ready or not, here he comes. And that's the introduction to the conversation surrounding Moses Itauma. And yeah, I had my eyes on Joshua Edwards. I've seen some things and I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I was trying to get behind him, but I don't know. It's another guy named Rakpo that I like. I think he was a cruiserweight. He wound up going to heavyweight. Got some heavy hands. I think he might be a little bit too muscular, but like if he line you up and catch you, I kind of like him more than I like Joshua Edwards. But I like Joshua Edwards in the fact that he's still learning and finding himself. OG Duran was the only 4-4 king. That's how nice he was. Boom, bars. Subscribe to OG Cast. But that's my spill on Moses Itauma, AC. I know it was a little long-winded, but that's the nutritional value aspect of it, and I wanted to get everything out the way so we can have an open discussion, man.
Yeah, and where I'm gonna pick it up is I'm gonna get to Moses and Tama, but in the theme of American heavyweights as well. For me, I've been kind of slowly I just forgot this dude's name. Price Taylor. I've been looking at Price Taylor, and he's kind of entertaining to me. He's kind of funny. He's like a true big built heavyweight and stuff like that. Will he make it to that level of guys? He shows he has some good technique. He can box when he wants to, but right now at the level he's fighting a bunch of tomato cans, and the fights just look like a bunch of dudes trying to bitch slap each other. But eventually, like when he steps up and gets there, I think he might be like one of our best candidates. It all depends. He's a big baby face looking guy. Just to hold on, just so people get an idea, he's 29 years old. He's 6'4". You know what I'm saying? He's 13-0, and he has 9 knockouts. You know, he does play around with his food. He has that showmanship, like an Emmanuel Augustus, like a Ben Whitaker and stuff like that. So at this level, yeah, I get you supposed to do that to get people talking about you and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm also following him because he's a Brooklyn native. So for me, I'm kind of looking at it to see, all right, for you to get the exposure, maybe you should be trying to link yourself up with, you know, a person like Shushu. You know what I'm saying? To get on the undercard of a Shushu fight, because Shushu's trying to do some big things, and you know it won't be a good look. I mean, it won't be a bad look in my opinion. So we'll just see how the Brooklyn native just comes out of it and everything. And there might be a slight bit of biasness because I see some of that Brooklyn bullshit he does when he's in a fight and shit like that. So it is funny to me to look at him and things like that. But I think the guy's kind of entertaining for where he's at right now. Moving on to Itauma, yeah, he's been a guy that I've always looked at like, yo, this fucking kid is dangerous, you know. But when it came down to the entertainment value and the level of competition aspect of it, I kind of strayed more towards Fabio Wardley. Like, I'm the type of at least heavyweight fan that's like, give me the man of the people. Don't sell me on the promotional card or the promotional company's, you know, dream prospect. I wanna get behind the guy that's doing it from the mud. That's not the most technically sound guy. you go into the fights like, oh, what the hell is going to happen? Because you're not that technically sound, but you got that one hitter quitter. That's the kind of thing that was there. I think that was the kind of thing that made George Foreman, had people looking at Ken Norton. Although Ken Norton could scrap, but it was still like, yeah, you put Ken Norton in there against an Ali or somebody like that, it's going to get kind of ugly because you're big, you're muscular, and you're kind of slow as a grizzly bear. So, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, that's kind of the way I felt about it. So I was like, all right, let me see Itauma get in there with this guy. Now, Intauma's going in there with the type of person that's going to answer these questions for us. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of fight we've been asking for, some of these bigger names and stuff like that. Give us the fight where there's a good level of skepticism whether or not you're going to win that fight, whether or not you might be stopped or lose that fight on points. This is your show up and show out fight. So even when we're talking about a Boots and some of these other guys, it's like, listen, I don't give a fuck, bro. You haven't given us that. And then Tauma's given us that. So, yeah, and Tauma's, a lot of the smoke is cleared. You know what I'm saying? Some people took their losses and kind of got out the way. So now it's in Itauma. Do I have a problem with UK fighters or any other fighter that's not American? Hell fucking no. You feel what I'm saying? Because again, I tell people one of my, I got a list of classic dudes that I just always love to watch. And unfortunately, by the time they fought an American and they got noticed in America, you had to go back and look at, oh shit, you fought him. Oh shit, you fought him. And that's a dude like, Joe Calzaghe. I'm a huge fan of Joe Calzaghe, and I don't have problem telling people, well, Calzaghe was one of my guys. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Bring him up.
Yeah,
I did notice that.
Yeah, and you see some people get a little upset with me and nah, if he would have faced him at this prime, yeah, but at the end of the day, he faced him when he faced him, and he beat two American legends. However you want to say it, yeah, okay, whatever. So let's remove those two names. Let's talk about what he did to the rising star Jeff Left Hook Lacey. That's where I got to first see Calzaghe, because I looked at his body and was like, all right, this nigga look like Tyson Fury but skinny. You feel what I'm saying? I'm like, Left Hook about to beat the shit out this guy. You feel what I'm saying? Left Hook catch the nigga, and then I'm looking at this dude, then start styling on him. Got his hands down, wiggling his shoulder, just throwing triple jabs, stepping around, giving Left Hook angles, just completely whitewashed this dude. Then I was like, okay, you got through Left Hook on me, but your next fight, you talking about Mikkel Kessler? All right, man, let's see what you do against Mikkel Kessler. Did the same exact thing, schooled the shit out of this dude. I was like, all right, man, I got to respect this dude right now, man. And then I started to go back and look at who he fought. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh shit, he fought Nigel Benn. Oh shit, that was his breakout fight in the UK. And then you hear the story of what was happening when he made that fight. He was like, I couldn't turn it down. I was injured and I had to just really suck it up and all of this other stuff. I only had 30 days to try to fix this situation, and I went in there and fought my heart out. And I was like, yeah, bro, you cut from that cloth. And then you end your career as undisputed and lineal. I don't have no problem with that. For me, I also like Sam Nooks. I was trying to tell people in some certain channels yo, y'all sleeping. This nigga Nooks is official, bro. He gonna give Abdullah a fight, and if Abdullah's not where he's at, Sam Nooks is gonna beat him. It's just that simple. For me, it's also, Sam Peters, the big Nigerian dude. Also Ike. I always fuck this dude name up. Ike Ibikui or some shit like that. Another big ass,
Ike Beabuchi.
Yeah, Ike Beabuchi. That's how you.
Hey, hold on, real quick. I ain't gonna interrupt you. I just want to say this one thing. I gotta get my father-in-law on here, man. I used to have him. I had according to my old head. Let's go back and look at that playlist, man. According to my old head, I gotta crank that back up, man. But we used to do segments, and he used to always talk about Ike Abuchi. And
Yeah,
I
he was
contacted
nice,
Paul,
nice,
and they
man.
said, man, he pretty much just he messed himself up like outside of the ring, man. But
Yeah,
they
yeah,
said that he had everything you would ever want, and I saw him. I'm like, damn, like Ike Abuchi, that's his name. But go ahead.
yeah, yeah. He was like he was one of my guys. He was a dude that I was like, I don't know, I don't know if some of these current heavyweights could beat this dude. So I started following him. I was like, this is a this dude is a problem. And it was a select few people that knew about Andy Hirioka, but they were like, yeah. When you bring his name up, they're like, oh yeah, that Hirioka is an issue. So at the end of the day, we love a lot of fighters, man. We look at Hamza Shiraz. We were big on him, and many other fighters and stuff like that, at least over here on this channel. And we, where Itauma is right now, he deserves this spotlight. He deserves everything that's being set up about him. So we just got to see if he's actually the goods. If he can get past, he's fighting Herkovich, right? Am I correct on that? All right.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what he could bring past with Philip Herkovich, and see if Philip Herkovich learned some lessons from, outboxing. What's the name? Why am I brain farting on names right now?
Dubois.
Dubois. And didn't Herkovich? Didn't he also fight?
AJ?
No. We were
Wilder.
We were just talking about the other UK blue collar dude. Ball light. Why am I?
Wardley? I don't know. Wardley,
Wardley, Fabio Wardley. Didn't he?
I don't know. I gotta qualify that. I don't.
Yeah, I'm gonna qualify it, but that's kind of where I'll land my plane. But at the end of the day, I'm like, Itauma's been growing on me. I had some skepticism before because the level of competition he fought, and it's like, all right, you're supposed to get those level dudes the fuck up out of there. You feel what I'm saying? Was I worried in any way, shape, or form when he fought Dillian White? Not at all. I was like, I don't expect that fight to even go 5 rounds. Moses Itauma versus Dillian White? Nah, he gonna get that man up out of there early. And that's exactly what he did. He's doing what he's supposed to do and getting some of these older, heavyweights out of there that are just not, they completely lost technique, and they looking like they're trying to African punch or bitch slap somebody. So I get them the fuck up out of there, man. If you're gonna get paid a couple of million to get them dudes up out of there, then fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem, but the issue is you're not really gonna develop any technique like that. But we're gonna see what happens once you get in there with somebody that's got some technique behind them. So that's where it is. That's where it all lies with me, and I'll land the plane right there while I look this information up real quick.
No, he didn't. Yeah, I looked it up real quick. No, he didn't. I like, yeah, because I've been following Fabio. No, he fought.
Yeah, but who was the tall guy that Fabio fought? I gotta see the names.
He fought Joseph Parker. He fought Hooney, Justice Hooney.
Yeah, Justice Hooney. That's the fight I'm thinking about. Yeah, Justice Hooney was putting hands and paws on him, and he was able to find that one punch to change the fight. But yeah, it was Justice Hooney who I was mistaken. Herkovich for.
Yeah, Hooney got some skills.
Yeah, Hooney's one of my. Yeah.
Man, I would love to know what OG Cass think, man, about the heavyweight, and because Michael Hunter, man, I don't know why they won't unhitch the wagon, man. They won't unhitch the wagon. It's like he can't stay active. And Jared Anderson, it seemed like his confidence is gone. We saw the fight right after, and that got a little hairy. You know, he had Prentice Brewer, and then I don't know if he's still with Prentice Brewer anymore. But man, we scavenged him, you know, for a heavyweight. I was high. I was starting to promote Jalen Edwards, and I saw a couple fights with, you know, the guys he was fighting. I'm like, hold on, man, I gotta pump my brakes on this guy because he got caught a couple times. I don't know if it was playing with his food or underestimating the guy. And then, you know, he had Ronnie in his corner. And I think that sometimes, man, based on your skill set, you gotta have the right trainer in your corner. Because as much as I love, this is the example I give, as much as I love Malik Scott's boxing mind, he wasn't the right fit for Deontay Wilder. You know, I don't even know if he was the right fit for the young guy that just lost not too long ago. The young guy he had.
Yeah, Ezra Taylor.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't even know. I'm like, man, 91 years old, and he's getting ready to take a giant leap of faith. Now, we saw what happened with Fabio Wardley, you know, in Dubois. But as far as the skill set, what I'm looking for from Moses is I want to see how his defense going to be. Can he swim without getting wet and still deliver that hot shit in the midst that he got? Can he do that? That's what I'm be looking for. And then when we fast forward and we get to Frank Sanchez, you know, Frank Sanchez is my guy. That's my guy. My guy. You know, I've been waiting for him because I'm like, man, this dude is nice. I like the way he boxes. I like his power. I like how in control he is. You know what I'm saying? I like Frank. So he got a couple tall tasks ahead of him. You know, and I'm not selling us up the river. I'm just saying, listen, man, with the state of the heavyweight division in the United States, should we all, like me and AC, should we all be looking at Moses Itauma as like that next guy? Because he's 21 years old, and if he can, at 21, think about what you were doing when you were 21 years old. You wasn't in the mess hall with your chest out. You might have been in the club. You know what I'm saying? I know I was in the club trying to knock somebody out, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we used to get on that drink and it's either fighting or fucking. So, yeah, but at 21, I wasn't in the heavyweight division in the mess hall with my chest out. I could say that, but Moses Itauma is. So, I'm not selling us up the river. I'm just saying, man, take a look at Moses Itauma and could he be the next big thing? That's the major question, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to be creative, bring some attention to him because at this young age, like we got guys, we got the Xanders of the world, we got the Abdullah Masons of the world, we got the Emilianos of the world, who are the Brian Normans of the world, but he's younger than all of them. Like this dude can barely buy a drink, man. He just now able to buy a drink. So for him to be in the heavyweight division, you know, where all it takes is one punch, because they say it's scheduled for 12 rounds. But will it go that way? That was just my question, man. So I wanted to put a demo down for him and put a stake in the ground for him and say, look, man, we got our eyes. Me and AC, we been had our eyes on you. But I was just, you know, putting something out here for everybody to think about and say, listen, man, you won't be a coward if you could say, look, man, yes, he's across the pond, right? He's not one of our guys. He wasn't born in U.S. soil and all that. You want to play territorialism and all of that stuff. The dude can box. Combinations, punches and bunches. He's accurate. Like, what? I think it was like 3 fights ago. The way he hit Buddy, man, my lady was laughing like a mother. Like, she saw the way he hit him, made dude do the Superman out there.
Yeah,
I was like, man, this dude is nice.
Yeah, the nigga had the one arm out and he was just like, see you, good night, dude. basically
OG Cass say
technically
Edwards
come
has
off,
good
but
potential. Got a ways before he get anywhere near Itauma territory though. Our amateur program is garbage right now. The improvements have to start there. Yeah. And as far as the Olympics, I think that's pretty much gone by the wayside. Somebody can somebody can, correct me if I'm wrong, but it gotta be more incentive, man. It gotta be, and we gotta treat people right. And the people, the non-popular people, the people that are not like media darlings and all that, we got to give them more attention. So that people know what's really going on, because the media, he who controls the printed page controls the thinking of this age, man. Because the media, man, it's vicious, man. Like it's like the bane of my existence. And I'm an author by nature. I write books. You know what I'm saying? I can design movies. So for me to see and hear, it's like it triggers me, man, the way the media does. Like, even when you don't have to do it, they'll shank somebody, like what they did with Conwell. I'm like, what's the need of doing that? What threat does he pose? Like, you don't even like the guy that's living in your shadow, but Conwell might be one of the biggest threats off the radar. And you shank this dude as media. Like, what? I don't understand the motive behind Sean Porter and some of the things he said. I don't understand the motive behind the Sean Tells. I don't understand the motive. You got the money. You have the platform. Why do that? And that's just a pet peeve of mine as an author and somebody that's like, man, look, man, we gotta grab hold of the narrative. We gotta say something, man. We gotta speak on it, man. We gotta say what need to be said about these guys, because I mean, like, fuck being popular, fuck being able to come over and oh man, salute to this, and yeah, salute man, salute, and appreciate you and subscribe. Fuck all of that, man. We gotta get back to just saying what need to be said, because our sport is falling by the wayside. First, because they say as the heavyweight division goes, so do the rest of them. Right? But our heavyweight division ain't shit. And then look at what the rest of the fighters are doing. They all on Twitter. I'll fuck you up on Twitter. And then they find out ways. They turn down their highest payday, triple the amount. You know what I'm saying? It would equal the accolade, but this is 2 divisions high. They turn that down, and people are out here saying, yeah, man, he had a right to. And this is, I'm like, are you a boxing fan or a bodyguard? But look at where we're at. And so if as the heavyweight division goes, so does the rest of the division. Look at the state of the heavyweight division, and then look at all the people in the lower weight classes and how they're moving. But Easy Charles said, appreciate the coverage of other fighters. The news on Keyshawn, Cole, Hitchens, and other fighters are frustrating. I appreciate you. I hope you subscribe. Easy Charles. This is how we do it, man. We said we stay off the beaten path, man. We listen. If you're not moving the way that you need to move, yes, we have our favorites, right? But we start inside the ring and work our way outside the ring as necessary. We don't talk about personal lives and all that kind of stuff. What we're here to do is like highlight and put stakes in the grounds and push the conversation towards fighters that are going to preserve the vitality of our sport, man, because our sport is anemic. I said, shit, it might be 2.5, it might be almost 3 years ago now. I said, hardcore boxing fans are on life support. Hardcores are on life support. Now, yes, casual. We need the casual money, the casual viewership, and all that to keep the, you know what I'm saying? But hardcores are what sustain it. Hardcores are what gets you in between the fights. Hardcores are what keeps that love, your engine going, your juices flowing for the sport. It's just like a relationship, man. If you can't figure out a way to rejuvenate and find yourself falling back in love with the sport or whatever, you listen to these casuals, yeah, you're going to be single, ready to mingle. You're going to be looking at basketball, soccer, hockey. You know what I'm saying? Look at how everybody like abandoned boxing because the World Cup was on. Do you think if we had a heavyweight that was beating shit down there, like if we had somebody in every division, heavyweight, cruiser, lightweight, middleweight, you know what I'm saying? Like welterweight, lightweight, you know, if featherweight, if we had somebody that was beating shit down, they had fights after fights, and they was, you know, in the mess hall with their chest out, you think people would have been worried about the World Cup? I don't think so. I don't think so. A lot of people dipped out because I was watching the World Cup. The World Cup, and they was coming on boxing channels talking about the World Cup. If boxing was in its right state of mind, do you think that would really be happening? No. But the media got a chokehold. Anybody that's coming up, like Oshaki, he's making his move, he's making his run. Man, he's not ready for this. Y'all notice how everybody, like, and I'm gonna touch and go on this, but y'all notice how everybody, whenever Shakur come up, he's not ready. He's just not. So it's like, okay, let's just give Shakur all the belts. Let's just give him all the accolades, right? And let's just go ahead and put him in the Hall of Fame and get his ass out the way. Because we can't ask him to fight nobody. And I sound like I'm being irrational by saying something like that, but stop me when I'm lying. I put the link out there for you to stop me. But nobody ever stops me. Nobody ever checks me. And AC, he'll give me pushback. But, like, stop me when I'm lying, man. Like, we can't get him to fight nobody. But everywhere you go, like, look at the card we had just last week where, like, it was so much eggplant, bratwurst. They had eggplant. This was the menu, AC. They had eggplant, bratwurst, beanie weenies, half smokes, footlongs. That's all it was. It was nothing. It was all this, everything catered towards Shakur. Oh, man, yeah, because Shakur, even the victory of Zepeda over Lamar Roach was overshadowed by, just admit it, man. Just get down on bended knee and proclaim that Shakur is the best thing in the world because of what he did to Zepeda. And we reason that Zepeda might have got tapped in the shoulder by the mafia and saying, listen, man, don't fight how you normally fight because, yeah, you can damn near drop them, but after that, put your hands in your pockets. Throw the same combination. Keep aiming at the same spot, but don't hit them. Don't bust them up. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is, huh, AC?
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to say one thing because for me, I'm the type of boxing fan that once you become on my radar, I start, subconsciously thinking who can beat you, what style I think can beat you. And then I may start thinking, all right, what are you going to bring to the table? In the case of Michael Hunter, I've always felt Michael Hunter was one of the best pure boxing heavyweights out there. You feel what I'm saying? That was always just overlooked. He beat Bacoli when Bacoli was active and on his rise, and he just took away Bacoli's power and just nullified him, beat him to the punch, and damn near dropped his big ass. So I'm like, look, man, you got to respect what Michael Hunter brings to the table. And I remember at times, talking to people, and I was like, look, if dudes follow the Michael Hunter game plan, it was like, what do you mean the Michael Hunter game plan? That was 5 years. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Many people still, talk about, how this fighter was beaten and this and that game plan lasts when it comes down to certain fighters, but when it comes down to other dudes that you may like, then no, you can't use that because that was 3 years ago, that was last year, that was this, that was that. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, everybody always says it. For most fighters, when shit get thick, they go back to exactly what they know and exactly what they've been doing. So if they had flaws, when it get thick, they're going to go back to those flaws in most cases. So for me, when I looked at Itauma, I was like, one fight I would love to see this dude fight. I would love to see him fight Michael Hunter. Because to me, if he can get past a Michael Hunter, then I'm going to say, yeah, you really got some skills with you. A bigger guy that can punch and can throw some combinations. To a certain degree, if you really scrapped against a bigger guy, even in a street fight, a lot of that big man shit you can see coming. And for most dudes that tend to fight bigger dudes, the attitude is like, look, you may be bigger than me, but at the end of the day, what you present that I don't, I'm a smaller target. You're a much bigger target. So I'm going to punch you no matter where you think I'm not going to punch you. I'm just going to put hands on you. So for me, that Michael Hunter versus Itauma fight was always intriguing. Will Michael Hunter come out and then make a run and try to get himself together? I don't know. I've always felt before Bacoli and Jared Anderson, when we were talking about early.
Robert Garcia has been campaigning heavy for the Boots fight, but Boots and them, they saying no, go to the back of the line and
Yeah,
this and this and that. I'm like, what has changed? Like for me, I don't understand what has changed because on his end, yeah, he got 2 belts, but like on Virgil's end, nothing has changed. That's why we sounded crazy when we was like, why are you pursuing Virgil so much? He never had a belt. He blah blah this. Go get Bachram. Go get this. So, but they was dead set on Virgil. Now he winning 2 belts, and now it's like, oh man, now Virgil gotta go to the back of the line. So yeah, sign me up. Take my money for the Conwell versus Virgil. But like, look, I don't know if Virgil gonna go in that direction because I think they know, especially coming off that performance, that Conwell might derail that plan. But look, I'll settle for this. How about this, AC? I'll settle for a Conwell against Brandon Adams.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a good one too.
I mean, I seen another one was Boss Baru and Conwell. I'll take that. I think Melazar said he said the Boss Baru. I said, yeah, I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? I would want a boss to, get back in there and, get another victory before that, just, for the optics and all that. But like style wise, I like that. But he also brought up Tellez versus Conwell, and I was like, man, respectfully, Conwell is going to spark Tellez, man. Tellez, I like Tellez, man. It's nothing not to like about Tellez, but I think his defense too leaky for Conwell. But I'll take a Brandon Adams in the Conwell. I'll take a Boston Rule in the Conwell. I'll damn sure take my money. Charge me twice for Conwell versus Virgil because that's a body work. That's a Mexican standoff, man. That's a Mexican standoff, man.
Yeah. And Virgil's team is talking about it. I would hope they go in that direction. They talking
about Boots. No, they talking about Boots. Robert wants Boots. Like he's just every interview is about Boots, and
Yeah, and he's
just like when you harass a girl 1,000 times. Hey, my name is Mike, and yeah, I work here, and hey, man, you got pretty eyes and all this, and then when she get on to you, you like, oh man, hold on, why are you calling me? Why are you pursuing? It's like y'all dressed this up. Y'all were chasing Boots for years, man. Y'all turned down the bag. That was y'all claim to fame. Y'all went down there, got in the ring and all that. Y'all didn't like him talking about Virgil, and now Virgil's like, okay, cool, all right, look, okay, let's do it. Now you're like, nah, you gotta go to the back of the line. It's like, what the hell? You got my number now, and now you don't want nothing to do with me.
Yeah, that's the part that I found strange. It's like, okay, I get where y'all really want the Boots fight and the Conwell fight. If you can't get it, that's the second that's the second best fight, and you're absolutely right. I don't have no issues with how they're talking and how they're setting it up. It's like, okay, that's kind of like the same thing Oshaki saying. Yeah, I want Navarrete, but if I can't get Navarrete or Kakesi, then I'm moving up. So, all right, you got a good fight in Navarrete, you got a good fight in Kakesi, and if neither one of those really good unification fights don't happen, then you're moving up. All right, ain't nobody, we can't say no dumb shit about that. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I see it. I don't have a problem even with what Kaz is saying that some fans may feel Virgil doesn't deserve a title shot right now because you had it in your hand and then you tried to use that shot as leverage. That was a stupid move. So Boots in them right now, yeah, you got it. You still paying the price. You feel what I'm saying? And it's still deserving. This is why I'm like, I can't really get upset at Boots for saying what he's saying because yeah, we had that fight lined up. I got in the ring with you. Whether or not that shit was whatever, you fucked that fight up at the end of the day, Virgil. That was your doing. You know what I'm saying? So we still could have got it in, maybe, whatever. But at the end of the day, whether I fought you back then or we lined it up for after I fight Xander, hey, it still was two moves that, in my opinion, made sense for Boots, as they were moving Boots and as Boots was dealing with his own career. So some people will say, yeah, I want Boots to fight Fundora and then Virgil, but it's like, get rid of Virgil. If Fundora was gonna go over there and fight Kelly, and Kelly wanted to take some time off because because of the gash and stuff like that, all right, cool. And then Virgil and Fundora get it on, and you in the middle. In the meantime, stay busy and take that Virgil fight. I don't have no issue with none of that.
See, I'm divided. I'm divided a little bit. I understand what OG is saying, but I have to look at the bigger picture. Because Virgil wasn't the first one to say no. Boots was the first one to say no.
Yeah.
Like, for a bigger bag. And so that's why I said when it came down to where Boots went down there and got in the ring and all that, I'm like, this the second time around. But I was like, you got to consider that Oscar gonna show his ass, because y'all turned down a big bag, which he gets a portion of. Y'all said no the first time, saying that y'all were gonna go for undisputed, and everybody was cool because it looked like that's what you was gonna do. You unified with Stallion, it looked like you was gonna go ahead and sew it up, but you didn't do that. You sewed it up with Stallion, like, I'm moving up. Maybe it's the weight cut, and then y'all came back to the table with Virgil. So I'm divided. The only thing is, it's almost like you got an ace in your back pocket with Virgil got having that interim, and Robert keeps saying that. Mauricio said, man, whenever you put it in, we gonna push for it. They said we gonna push for it. And I'm like, okay, well, why you don't push for it? You could be the thorn in Fundora's side. Like, you could interject. But the thing is, to me, it's just like everybody else. People talk a lot of shit about Fundora, but I don't think people are anxious to get in there with his ass right now at this point. That's just how it's looking. It's like this dude done got his head, like, yeah, he learned from the Mendoza, he learned from the Timzu, and now, even early on with the Lubin fight, he learned. And now it's like this dude is an anomaly. He's like an enigma. And I understand, yes, it was different weights. It was different weights, but that was a big bag. And knowing Oscar was gonna be vindictive. So it's like, yeah, they fucked themselves over the second time around, but is it not a fight that's still long overdue? And I'm looking at the timeline, because if Fundora getting ready to fight, Josh Kelly just fought, and if Fundora going to fight and it's going to be some long extended, like, toxic ass negotiations, shit, go ahead and get Virgil out the way. I mean, if he's easy work, get his ass out the way, get you another payday, increase your stock. You know what I'm saying? But they saying put him. So either way, if you feel like he should go to the back of the line, okay, cool. I'm looking at the timeline. If it happens to where we don't get Fundora and Boots until like summer next year, then shit, why not fight Virgil now? But if you feel like, oh, you fucked it up, okay, cool. I just look at the bigger picture. One person said no. Then the second time somebody made it hard to negotiate. This the third time around. And there's no haps. Get to the back of the line. Okay, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I was only speaking in terms of the timeline. I was just using recency bias because we both had said, from the look of it, you read the tea leaves, neither one of these dudes really want to fight each other, because it's always some excuse on one of these guys' side, whether it's the promoter, whether it's the trainer, whether it's the fighter themselves. We cooked everybody when we found out that everybody at 54, when we found out that nobody wanted to face Bakaram because they were all claiming the 10-pound rehydration from the IBF, and it was like, but in that unification there is no 10-pound rehydration, so what the fuck are you talking about? So we looked at that. We also talked that, you know, when Boots kept on trying to build fights at 54 when he was at 47, we talked about the movements of Eddie. Eddie, what are you doing? There's a fight right there at 47 for Boots. If people are waiting games for Boots to actually stay busy in Conor Ben. But then you have to circle back and go to what Bozy said was, who the hell knows Conor Ben in South Philly? And that was one of those, again, iconic joints that it's like somebody should have made a T-shirt with that. Had Bozy with the hat with the glasses on and just have that statement right there. I would have literally bought that just to have it in a scrapbook and be like, this is my boxing collection of oops and everything else that people say. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe have Espinoza saying, you know, 1,000 times. You feel what I'm saying? Not me.
But look, but this was the other thing that we took. This is why I don't use cayenne pepper when it comes to Virgil. Because the other thing was, we thought Boots was gonna get undisputed at 47. He arbitrarily said after the Stanyanos, like, nope, I'm moving up. Maybe it's the weight. I've been down here for too long. But he didn't use his leverage.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
He had a WBA belt and he had the IBF belt. But he didn't use that IBF. So going up to a new weight class, he didn't use the IBF. And we reasoned. There was never nobody on record saying it was the IBF rehydration. Now we had Robert Garcia saying that Virgil didn't want to do it because of the rehydration. But we never had Boots on record saying it was the IBF rehydration. But when we brought it up and said, okay, well, why didn't you use your IBF to move up and fight Bakram? It's crickets, right? Why didn't you use your WBA to move up and, you know what I'm saying, and fight Fundora? It was crickets.
Yeah.
So it's like you had leverage, so you arbitrarily move up after you get 2 belts. It's 2 more left, right? You jerk over Brian Norman. But then you give Stanyanis, who was inactive, you give him more money to unify with him and say that, oh, well, he's the highest tenure. And yeah, it was a claim for that because Stanyanis was one of my guys. I didn't like the fact that he, quit on the stool. But we look at that shit like it's a multifaceted thing. It's nothing personal against Boots. I bought tickets to Atlantic City to go see Boots fight. So it wasn't nothing like that. We do comprehensive, but when we cook, we put everything, anything that's out there that we can actually see and implement it. That's why we take our time. And when we come out, we be like, hold on, man. Gotta give this guy the benefit of the doubt. But then again, we got this going on, that going on. It's different variables. And we include that. We don't be salacious or we don't be like dogmatic in our approach about it to tear nobody down. But we do weigh everything in, and it don't always be the most popular stances, but we still take them when we talk about these fights and what's going to happen. Like it wasn't popular to say that Boychuk really beat Virgil at the time because Boychuk really beat Virgil, and they bring that up. They're like, man, well, you really lost to Boychuk. It's like, okay, cool, but like your guy really asked for 2 tune-ups. So it's like, which one weighs more? Like when Turkey was saying, hey, look, I got a bag for you and Virgil. You like, when I move up, I'm gonna take 2 tune-ups. So I'm like, we take it all in consideration, man. We just try to be even and honest, man. And sometimes it don't put us in the best graces of these boxers, but it do keep us solvent. Because you can never say we put in that bullshit. You can never say we're being toxic. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, man. But I think we did this one justice, AC, man. What you got, man? How you want to land on this one, man?
Yeah, on this one, I'm gonna land right here, man. American heavyweight boxing, yeah, it's where only thing we're dealing with is a handful of hopefuls. Maybe some people who are in Olympics right now or coming to the Olympics or just joining the amateur ranks and stuff like that. But everybody that's there, it's not really looking promising. And sometimes it happens like that. During the Klitschko era, we didn't have any like really, really significant American heavyweights that could really like dethrone the Klitschkos and stuff like that at the time. Shannon Briggs was on the back end of his career. Just so many different fighters were on the back end. We accepted a lot of names in the heavyweight division, but if you went back and Googled it, those guys weren't American. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, to me, I'm not that patriotic when it comes down to just saying who is the best in boxing or who is the best in, fisticuffs. Just like I'm unpatriotic in the fact that, I grew up in the era of pop locking, breakdancing, electric boogie, DJ, MC, all of that stuff. You feel what I'm saying? And in the world of breakdancing, America hasn't been on the top of the list in almost 3 decades. Once you get to like 90 something, like 91, 92, it's been Korea has been dominant, Japan has been dominant, China has been dominant. When you look at the two top guys right now, they're both Asian, but they live in Canada. And I still do watch the Red Bull, breakdancing contest because breakdancing is now an Olympic sport. So that's how far it's come. You know what I'm saying? And it featured a couple of years back, not this Olympic, the Olympic before. And I watched the whole thing, and it's just okay. We got some great breakdancers, but none of them is fucking with Phil Ivey or Ishin coming out of Canada, and even France had a strong run. So American boxing is in the same place. So for me, it's just like, okay, we at this particular point, the way Americans are, the way they want to move American boxers and things like that, you need to really, really be that special commodity. You need all the dynamics and all the dimensions to really work for you. Deontay Wilder got there because him and AJ, Tyson Fury, you feel what I'm saying, filled a void. Because the heavyweight boxing scene was just basically empty. Klitschko's and them was on their way out the door. And it was just, okay, you could talk about Bermain Stavern, but it was like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, oh shit, who's that big, light-skinned Nigerian dude, over in the UK named Anthony Joshua, Olympic gold medalist? Oh shit, who's the, former UPS truck driver and shit like that getting in there to help his daughter with spinal bifida, whatever the disease is called, and I'm not being disrespectful. And he's out there, got a bronze medal, and he's out there smacking motherfuckers to sleep. And who the fuck is this tall ass, gypsy curly hair, suspended wearing, looking like looking like somebody from a true WWE or WWF show named Tyson Fury? Like, and that's what brought us back. It was those three guys, that triangle theory right there, and that's what helped bring boxing back. Tyson Fury and AJ were battling that out in UK for the supremacy of UK heavyweights, and Deontay Wilder, he had the whole American basically pond himself, and he filled that up. PBC and everybody moved him right. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's where we are right now, and unless we get somebody that's that can box like Lennox Lewis and has the knockout power of Deontay Wilder, and in the way American fans move this day, nobody's gonna be accepted until that happens, and that the heavyweight dude loses. Oh, he was a bum. He didn't do this and he didn't do that. You feel what I'm saying? So that's just the way it's gonna be. Like, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be extremely funny and facetious in saying this. Our best potential for a solid heavyweight is if David Benavidez put on more fucking weight and he decided to fight one of these heavyweights. And that's how sad the heavyweight division here is in America, because we don't really have nobody. We had the other dude that Mike Tyson was training maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but we don't know what happened to him. He basically disappeared. And actually, Tyson was working with at least 2 dudes, and then there were some other, guys that we were talking about as American heavyweights, but they're like, I don't know, bruh. I don't know. You ain't showing me shit right there. So that's what it is, and that's where I landed, man. And get behind Moses Itauma. He's, even though he's from the UK, they're starting to move him right now, and this is the time where it's put up or shut up. So tune into his fight, give that fight some love, because it's going to be relevant in the heavyweight division, and that's where I landed. And regardless, even if he loses, he's fucking 21. You know what I'm saying? He's 21 years old. That's he got plenty of time to come back and correct whatever it is that fucked him over in that Herkovich fight. So that's where I'm gonna land that plane.
Cool. I gotta look up that guy you talking about, that Mike Tyson was training, but you right. You know what I'm saying? Great point, man. I hope you enjoy your evening, bro.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
All right, man. Man, AC always come with that hot fire, man. He's right, because at first I was like, nah, man, because I looked at it like Shakur being offended and using the power that he had with the social media, saying that David should go and fight Usyk. And then I was like, nah, man, he don't need to get off his path. He got his goals, he got his dreams, he got his plan that he had before Shakur said what he said. A little bit of time went by, and I was like, and then I seen what Rico was able to do with Usyk. I was like, but shit, maybe David Benavidez can go up there and put some paws on Usyk. And just like that, Usyk was like, I want Wilder. I'm not fighting Wardley. I'm not fighting Itauma. He started dropping belts, and people start saying, oh, he done enough. And I was like, all right, then. You know what I'm saying? It's us against the world in that regard. So for me, man, he might be right. David Benavidez, he might have to put on some weight. I just think that, man, it's just one of them things where certain fighters, it's crazy how certain fighters are expected to do certain things that other fighters are not held accountable for. Like, why in the hell would David Benavidez had to go from 68 all the way up to heavyweight, and one fighter won't even go from 140 to 147? That's just me, man. We just wanted to put a stake in the ground for Moses Itauma, man. We're not selling y'all up the river. We're just saying, man, take a look at this guy. If he get past Herkovich, he have a bigger test with Sanchez. He get past that, we might truly have something special. Now, the criteria, the litmus test is for him to get past those guys. Just him getting in a ring with Sanchez or him getting past Herkovich, who shared the ring with Dubois, says something, especially at that young age. But the IBF, they was like, man, it's full on for the full title. So this man, on the 29th, he has a shot at greatness to stamp himself in the annals of boxing history as a true, legitimate heavyweight champ under the IBF. I like him because he do body work. He throw punches and bunches. He ain't in there trying to like dance around and pussyfoot with you. He in there trying to like stop you and knock you out and get it over with, so he can go ahead and get back home to the fam. I like that. There's nothing not to like about that, even though he's across the pond. And we're hurting. Michael Hunter, where you at? Jared Anderson, how you feel? Braylon Edwards, you ready? Is you ready? Because your guy, and you an Olympian. Your guy from across the pond, man, he's doing some major things in the game, man. So Hopefully you was able to put something in your rucksack and carry it on to your next boxing conversation. Hopefully we didn't stay down in the salaciousness for too long. It's touch and go. We're not giving these guys any publicity, man. No, man. If you're not moving the way you need to move, man, you really don't deserve more than, a couple statements and then move on. You definitely don't deserve 6 hours of live time. For what? So we're not going to do that, man. This was the Talk Heavy episode inspired by the great Iron Mike Tyson, man. One of my childhood favorites. A legend in the game. Appreciate you, Cass. Another episode full of high-level boxing talk. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for keeping the chat going and and the positive feedback, man. It means a lot, man. But to everybody out there, man, to the 300, man, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for rocking with me, man. Thanks for not turning your back on me and supporting me with a like, with a comment, with a subscription. We are monetized. Hit the Cash App. Hit the Super Chat. It takes time, effort, and energy to put in this work. And we try to give you some nutritional value, not just a whole bunch of salacious opinions. We back it with stats and facts. So we're not gonna beg for it, but it will be nice to show your love and appreciation. Even if it's not a donation, it could be a hype. You know what I'm saying? We are getting plenty of subscribers, man. Hit that subscribe button. Comment. If you're not scared to be like the salmon swimming upstream and saying what needs to be said, because silence is consent. Meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for men and women to remain silent. So we got to speak to the things that need to be spoken to in the sport of boxing, man. Somebody got to come out here and say what needs to be said, man. Even if they know they're not going to make nothing for it, even if they know they're going to be ridiculed and all that. No, right is right, wrong is wrong. And that's a life principle. Why not bring that on into the sport of boxing? That's the motto over here. This is fruits and veggies, not that Reggie, that fact-based content, not opinion-based. Even though we have ours, we always say, go where everybody know your name. They're always glad you came and they always sing your praise. And then come here what me and AC got to say. You might learn something. You might have a different approach. You might be like, oh, I never thought about that. I listen to haters. I've had my mind changed before about haters and said, you know what, I didn't look at it like that. They got a good point. They off on this, but yeah, they got a good point. And then we move on. You learn. But this channel is for mental stimulation, right? Not just empty conversation and salaciousness. And hopefully we achieved our goal today. But look out for your boy Moses Itauma, man. He making some noise, man. 21 years old, man. He could go in there and get his ass knocked out. We don't know. But we shall see on the 29th. But y'all know how I am, man. I could talk that boxing talk all day and all night, man. I ain't gonna hold you. It went just a little longer than what I thought, but it's not bad because it was great boxing talk. But this was the Talk Heavy series, man. If you want to see prior conversations when we talk heavy, this is what the thumbnail looked like, man. Today's episode was about this guy, Moses Itauma. Ready or not, here I come. Anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga right now? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.